Welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Valve leaks a Half-Life 3 file of lies! And have you ever wanted a Twitch app for your desktop? No? Well, they made one anyway.
Virtual programming is bringing Saints Row 2 and 3 to Linux. I'm just gonna go in my corner over there and cry for a bit. NVIDIA gets stacked, and their new cards might have 5.5 gigabytes of RAM.
Obsidian screwed the pooch with Neverwinter Nights 2. Our hopes lie within space now. Hear the word of Jim fucking Sterling, son, and leave the shitty game developers to wallow in their own misery.
I'm Vin Stone here at LGC Actual on some crippled interweb bits. Sorry for that, this is some old school LGC. And all the way up in the Canadian lands.
Oh no, I'm in 4x3!
And from Space Portugal!
I look worse than Jordan.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just kind of a given. And together with Shantaril Dynamic joining us live, we do form a bit of a cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. Gentlemen, I'm just going to start this off because they released some new Nexus devices this previous week, right?
They did.
Yeah.
They released a new operating system. Go on.
And then I saw a new Nexus 10 tablet. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. What I should have thought was, oh, it's replacing my Nexus 10. So I don't get the upgrade. But, I'm just kind of like bitching from the sidelines because I run Cyanogen nightly. There's some other Steam stuff I would get into, but for the sake of time, what's going on, J-Baby?
Yeah, no, my Nexus 7 is still supported. Wahahaha. No, like an idiot, I volunteered to run a Traveler game for my ingrate players on Tuesdays, except Osiris is apparently without internet. So, anyone wants to play some 70s sci-fi stuff, shoot me a message on Chatroom, because I need some more players.
And over here, I tried the Burger King Halloween Whopper.
You took the Goth Burger Challenge.
And then he died,
I did.
So this
and
intro
it's
marks
confirmed.
17,
It does make your poop green. Very much so.
Well,
welcome to my life.
Instead of green poop, how about we give them some free green wet sneaky cashes in the form of another way of give. That's right.
Oh my God!
Check this business out. I was digging around. It turns out that we have a 2-pack of Skullgirls, one for you, and another to trade for share. All you have to do, rules are simple. Post a screenshot of your Steam client, make sure your name's visible, that's how we're going to send it to you, with a terminal running top, plus a picture of Airwolf and mayonnaise. Use your imagination, Harry.
And not Miracle Whip. We have to be very, very clear. Actual mayonnaise and not like salad dressing.
Yeah, you can just head over to Chatroom Static, that's on LinuxGameCast.com, jump in. Leave your replies there, and we'll get back to this business and give it away next week on the show. Sounds like a plan. All right. So,
but you know what else is confirmed after many, many years of waiting? The horse. It's a Steamworks update. I'm confirmed.
Totally confirmed. Valve just accidentally pushed a file named HL3 Text to Dota 2 Reborn that seems to be pretty damn interesting. But is it?
It's a text file, man. That's super interesting.
Wow. I mean, this is amazing.
I'm at the edge of my seat. Hold on. I can just back up a little.
And of course,
it's the help file.
Right. The internet is abuzz with hope and all this business, but it really seems like a couple of guys at Valve, they're on Friday, and they all place some bets at the office, and they're like, well, let's just accidentally push this up to Dota and see how many hours it takes before Phronix reports it as Half-Life 3 confirmed. What do you think, B-Man?
Yeah, according to the Steam DB guys, this is actually one of the help files for the Hammer map editor, which is the map editor for Dota 2. Obviously, that's the repo that this was pushed towards. And Valve has once again flipped everyone the bird, and people are going apeshit over all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, the second I saw this story, it was just like, oh, time to go stock up on some popcorn. Listen, guys, you gotta realize something about, the Source Engine. Dota 2 Reborn used the Source Engine 2, which was originally... I'm gonna make an educated guess here. It was originally designed to power Half-Life 3, so it may be that a bunch of asset names are just reused from project to project, including HL3.txt. No?
And it's a text file. They can literally call it anything they fucking want.
Exactly. Renaming files is difficult and time-consuming and really for a reference file, who the hell cares? But up next... you always got to get good support. Otherwise, you're going to start to sag. And, Gabe's areola is starting to sag a little bit. More complaints, another article from Kotaku.com that links to all this stuff in our show notes. And talking about how Valve's customer service, they've made some promises about how they would improve it, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Now, admittedly, I'm one of the few people who's actually had a positive customer service experience with Valve, so I'm maybe not.
You were definitely the unicorn in that situation. I kind of view Valve as like the utility company, or AT&T, which unfortunately I might have to be on the phone with Monday. But it is, everything's worked, no issues there. But as soon as something breaks, man, you are effed, P-Man.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's going to take more than Kotaku to actually spur Valve into action, because they don't really give a damn, apparently. They've had their store pushing literally stolen assets, games that use stolen stuff, and they're up on their store, and they only do something when, 2 or 3 different media outlets actually go out of their way and publish an article saying, oh, Valve is pushing stolen stuff. Yeah. Just Kotaku, it's not going to do it. We need more.
Yeah, and I mean, Steam has established themselves as the de facto game buying store online. So I mean, until a serious competitor shows up and starts poking them in that sore spot, we're really just going to have to deal with shitty customer service. If you don't want to deal with it, go buy your games from GOG, go buy your games from itch. But I mean, don't complain about Valve customer service because you choose to support that platform.
I definitely.
But up next.
No. I just want to point out what Michael said right now. Customer service is definitely an early alpha release. It needs to get greenlit. But let's talk about Brad. Excited to see this thing. What this thing does, starting in December. Big happy face, and it's a Valve thing. If you don't know who the Brad is, no, we're not talking Pulp Fiction. He was the lead designer of Brutal Legend and the project leader for Iron Brigade, Brazen, and Massive Chalice. One of those games didn't suck. The only thing I was thinking, gentlemen, wrap your brain organs around this. You got to think Valve time makes Double Fine time look brisk, baby.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. They at least delivered Broken Age, and it took them 3 years, but that's a little better than Valve. But I think I know what this Valve does.
Game.
I think I know it. Hey, it took them 3 years for one game. Again, we're still waiting on Half-Life 3, or maybe not. Confirmed zonk. But I'm pretty sure I know what that Valve does. I'm pretty sure it just sucks in Kickstarter money and spits out Elijah Wood. Yeah. But up next,
this is good. It's good that he's working at Valve. I mean, Valve is hiring someone that actually makes games.
But you see, Pedro, I'm confused, Pedro. Why would somebody who makes games want to work at Valve?
Ooh, shots fired.
Up next.
All right, up next. You're gonna be able to buy your Steam machine at your local electronics boutique / GameStop / whatever game store you have. I guess it's called Game in the UK. But it makes sense. You could, if you have a credit card, you can order your Steam machine online and get it shipped to you, and it may be in a reasonable condition, or it may be kicked to death by the UPS man. Who knows? Or you can go to your store, pick up a console pick up this console killer from the same place where you buy all your other video games. It makes sense. I don't know why this is actually a story. But it is funny to see, game stores have been railing against the digital market, but it's funny that they're carrying a product now that essentially renders them obsolete.
It's the ultimate shot in the foot.
I don't know. Definitely the way I'm looking at it is, my biggest question was, A lot of people, and this is a whole different like aside here with the Steam machines, is a lot of people have the internet connectivity to like, play online multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a thing. But a lot of people do not have the bandwidth to download 50 gigajoules or anything like that. Then me and Jordan were kind of talking in the notes. He's like, flash drives. And my first thought was like, yes, get your GameStop flash drive for $4.99 and your $19.99 a month subscription and all this and all that business is definitely something to go down. But I really couldn't find a Steam machine. I mean, when it comes to media like that, with an optical drive, -1, the Origin PC Omega Yellow Swag Dorito 420, that one does have an optical drive, and it might be an option. But regardless of that, SteamOS is not built to be installed by physical media, right?
Right, but it's at the same time you have to consider that it is meant to compete with consoles. And I mean, one of the big things about Microsoft Xbox One back when it first got announced was always on DRM. It's going to waste a ton of bandwidth, and that is a legitimate concern that a lot of consumers have. So I thought, maybe it's the return of cartridges with flash drives with assets on it. It seems a bit far fetched, I admit, but Valve has to consider ways of overcoming this limitation.
Valve has actually released an FAQ yesterday or the day before, and they specifically say that for an internet connection, you just need to have it in order to download the games, and for the first boot of your Steam machine, or if you're installing it from physical media, you're probably listening to a Linux gaming podcast, you probably already have a spare PC running SteamOS. I do. And you just need internet connection for that first one, and you download your games, and after that, you can sort of play offline for a little bit, at least till that Valve bug that makes it so you can't play offline after 2 months.
If you're on metered bandwidth, though, that presents a serious issue, though.
Yeah, it is.
And that is the norm in a lot of places in Canada and the US. So
yeah,
again,
and
the thing
about this story pisses me off the most is that Portugal isn't getting Steam machines on physical stores anytime soon, at least not according to the official announcement. We do have Game. There are some Game stores here in Portugal, the same one that there is in the UK, the one that was supposed to have gone bankrupt a while back. Apparently they didn't. But yeah, it's a pain in the dick because I was kind of waiting for the Steam controller to show up on physical stores so I could just go there and pay like 50 euros and pick it up instead of paying 65 euros, which was what I have to do through Steam, because there's the extra 15 euro shipping that I'd have to pay.
But no one cares. No one cares about Portugal, so it's all good. Up next,
Mac and beta clients released for Trine 3, The Artifacts of Power. The only thing I have to say about this particular thing is, did they patch in the rest of the game?
Yeah. It's a short one. It is. We finished Trine 1 last week, and that was hella short. And this is supposed to be like a full budget game. That is like the third in a series of increasingly lengthy games.
I mean,
but apparently they were.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, on one hand, Oregon, I'm sitting here, like, well, I'm glad you guys. Frozen Byte's always been good about getting their Linux ports out. And I was like, okay, that's good, but I am really not happy how they handled Trine 3. They released it, and everyone went, this game didn't end. It just stopped, and they went, oh shit, backtrack, and they made the apology video. I'm like, it was meant to be part 1 of part 3. Yeah, that sounds legit. Let's use that. Well, they probably just ran out of money, and it'd been great if they'd be like, hey guys, we Kickstarted, we didn't get enough, we tried something overly ambitious. But yeah, that apology video really rubbed me the wrong way, especially the lady in the yellow pants walking in the back with a baby stroller. I mean, girlfriend, it's 2015. Come on, all right?
That's the biggest crime that Frozen Byte made, is that fashion snafu. I don't know. I've heard a lot of complaints. My friend who actually introduced me into the Trine series, he seems to like Trine 3, but he's a Windows gamer. And a lot of the complaints regarding like the 3D puzzles and whatnot, I'm kind of reminded of the transition from 2D to 3D Sonic, because the screenshot, the footage we have seen of Trine 3 really does remind me a lot of the 3D Sonic games. A lot of the mechanics and a lot of the platforming don't really translate all that well. And the other thing they got rid of was the skill system, which I thought was one of the better parts of the game, was because, yeah, you're limited to your boxes and your shield and your basic arrows until you unlock better ones, and you can tackle problems in new and exciting ways. Seems like a bit of a loss.
I'm genuinely curious to see if it really is that bad, because that seems to be what everyone's complaining about. I don't know. I'm curious. So,
and either way, you get to watch us play through it regardless. So if it's bad, it's probably going to be more entertaining for you.
Yep. But you know what? I loved me some Neverwinter Nights back in the day. But Obsidian kind of screwed the pooch when it came to Neverwinter Nights 2, and now we get a sort of a spiritual successor. It has a DM mode, it has a level editor, you can actually generate your own dungeon. It is a Forgotten Realms, Dungeons and Dragons, CRPG. It's played very much in the same way that the original Neverwinter Nights was. I have to actually give kudos to Digital Extremes for reminding me that I had signed up for the beta considerable time ago. I've asked for the 2 extra keys just so Ven and Jordan can also play the game, but they said that they would only give those out whenever the review builds are up and running. They still aren't, so I'm still waiting.
So currently, right now, it's only available on the Windows, but how's the Linux client performing?
The Linux client actually performs considerably well. There is some graphical oddities going on. The lighting doesn't look right, and the title screen, it has some waves coming into the shore, like, Sword Coast and all that. And the ocean looks black. I'm pretty sure that's not. I'm pretty sure that's not the way it looks in Dungeons and Dragons, but
I don't know. There is for black characters an epic destiny in like D&D that lets you be reborn as a white person. So that's super racist. I don't know. I'm looking forward to this game. I was a fan of Neverwinter Nights as well. I played the shit out of that game back in the day. Yeah. This one's using the 5th Ed rule set, and I've heard some interesting things about how that translates to the CRPG format. So, but one thing that really interests me is this going to have the same level of fan response that Neverwinter Nights had? Because honestly, that was the best part of the game, was just playing all the random levels and conversions and whatnot that people would post on the NWN community. So maybe we'll see some of that. I was kind of hoping that with Shadowrun Returns as well, but that didn't really come to pass. We shall see. But you know what? Max can go suck a big fat load.
Well, speaking of Max, and Linux Posta 1 goes on sale and receives a major controller improvement.
The
proper widescreen aspect ratio, that's in there, the HUD thing and all that. Here's the big thing. Well, that's good. Sorry, Mac. Men and women, we are unable to get these updates ready for you, fear not. But they are currently available for the Linux, and it works with the twin stick shooters.
It's available on the Android store too, or the Amazon.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's technically there, but it is completely fuck all unplayable with a controller. What do you think, P-Man?
I was reading through this, and I read that bit that says, when we released the game on Android via the Amazon App Store, and I immediately stopped and went like, that's like saying it's wheelchair accessible, but first you have to climb the steps to lower the ramp.
I don't know. What is Amazon actually offering people to put shit on their store as opposed to the standard Play Store? Are they getting a better cut?
Maybe a better cut or something like that. I mean, there's really no reason. They do have like the free app of the day and all that business, but the only time I'll install the Amazon App Store is to download the Amazon Video Player. Then we're done. It's kind of like Internet Explorer's only uses to download Chrome or Firefox.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no interest in Postal 1, but it's good that they at least got it ported out and fixed. And you gotta love the plug at the bottom of this article for a Windows game that we won't be able to play regardless. But, it's time to drop the soap, Pedro.
You want to go to prison? Because
you want to see my pecker?
I genuinely thought that this game would never see an actual finished state, and apparently it is. This is Prison Architect. It is available. It's no longer in early access. You can buy it for, usually it's 20 euros. There's a special promotion going on that ends October 13th. How much is that for you guys?
$29.99,
$15 or no,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, 20 bucks.
Canadian
20 bucks.
dollars.
Canada tax.
But yeah, this is a prison simulator. You have to sort of manage your prison and make sure riots don't get out of control, your prisoners don't escape. The usual spiel.
Actually, one of the interesting things about this game was how they handle inmate relations, because there are literal bad prisoners that corrupt and cause more negative random actions to happen. So, and you have to manage and reject those prisoners. I thought that was kind of a neat approach to the prison simulation genre.
Yeah, it has definitely a lot of depth when it comes to actual management type games like Football Manager. That's a Linux thing too.
Or Evil Genius. That was the other one.
The graphics might turn some people away, but it's actually got some really nice depth, and the reviews on Steam say very positive, and apparently 94% of people who bought the game thought it was good. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I mean, definitely when I think about stuff like this, people are always, well, the fighting games are the horrible things, and I was like, this is kind of like managing the fucked up incarceration system, where so many nonviolent criminals are have their lives fucked over for
politics.
I know. Let's not get into that. So, to me, I mean, this is a game that I look at and it's like that's too fucking dark for me, son.
I don't know. The full price is a bit much to look at. It's $30 regularly.
Wasn't it something outrageous during early?
It was. I think it was
games.
Full on close to the full price they're asking for right now in early access. So it looks like they milked that cow and finally got some cheese. I don't know. Up next, I'm really, really sad because I love the Saints Row game series. That thing it takes GTA and actually makes it fun again. Though I haven't played GTA 5 yet. Apparently that is really, really fun as well. But we had promises that Saints Row the 4th was coming to Linux back when they had that big announcement where Torchlight and Arkham Asylum and Shadow of Mordor were all announced for Linux as well. But it looks like the Saints Row 2 and 3 are coming to Linux as well, this time by virtual programming. So, those of you with AMD cards or Intel integrated graphics, go fuck yourselves. You can't play this game.
Yeah, I guess who's not buying these.
Oh, is it me? Because I already own them with the hope that they would actually come out on Linux?
Jordan, by now you should know that I'm far too self-centered to be talking about you, so shut the fuck up. But if you actually had read the notes, you would have seen that next I would have said that I think that I at least owned a third because it was on some humble bundle. Deep Silver, you guys, I used to be willing to stick my neck out for you. The moment you hire these people to quote-unquote port your game, that's done. It's you're officially on the gray list. Everyone else out there, the moment you see a Deep Silver game coming out for Linux, be very sure what kind of port you're buying into, because I don't trust them anymore.
There is a silver lining to this, and that is, get it, Deep Silver, that Saints Row the 4th is not being ported by virtual programming. That will actually be a native port, probably by Feral, possibly by Aspire. We don't know at this point. It's entirely speculation. But Saints Row the 4th and the one after that are going to be native. That at least gives me some solace. Ven, do you have any opinion on this whatsoever?
Really, when it comes to virtual programming and everyone who wants to back virtual programming, all I have to say to you is, what's it like playing a game that was ported by the lowest bidder? Because that's what you have at the end of the day on that one. Take a shot. And I've said it before and I said it again, and I have nothing personally against the people at virtual programming. It's a stopgap measure. That is not something that ever needs to gain any traction.
It's literally wine port.
And they have a long history of fucking up Mac ports, so they're just getting their toe organs and finger organs wet in the Linux pool and not knowing how to deal with it very well.
And it doesn't actually create Linux programmers. It just allows these half measures to be used indefinitely. Gamings for Linux, which should take advantage of the fact that there are much lower hardware requirements, will require much higher hardware requirements simply because of this
Jordan,
bullshit translation.
It's not like your system and video RAM requirements double or anything with virtual programming.
No. It's like it's really like 1.8999999 times. But anyways, up next, we talk about getting stacked. And you get to listen to me complain about how to get shit compiled. Ladies
and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the news. And to differ from previous weeks on Linux Gamecast Weekly, we don't start with some drivers. Jordan, what are we
do start with NVIDIA, though, which is a thing. No, this is, they are at NVIDIA. They recently previewed some of their new architecture for their new video cards that are coming out next year. This is their Fiji-like design with the stacked VRAM and whatnot. They're saying that the consumer model is going to have somewhere in and around 8 gigabytes of VRAM. The enterprise model having up to 16 gigabytes. Because, you always want to run like 6 4K monitors off a single card. It's just bare minimum requirement.
They're going to be using the HBM2 stacks, which will feature for the consumer up to 15.5. Not 16. 15.5 gigabytes of RAM.
Yes, 15.5. I'm sorry. I sit corrected.
Thank you.
But I mean, this article, it's from WCCFtech.com. Link to this is in our show notes. There's really a lot of speculation. They do make some mention of what we know, that they're going to have DirectX 12, OpenGL, Vulkan, all that stuff. 15 and a half gigabytes of VRAM. Consumer, 31.5 gigabytes for the Pro variants. 4 gigabit memory interface. All that good stuff. A bunch of slides and a bunch of speculation. Really, we're not going to know anything for sure until next year. They seem to believe that these guys are that the card demoed at this show, which I cannot find the name of for the life of me.
Well,
God damn it.
I can already hear the locked-in fanboys. And here's something NVIDIA does right that AMD needs to, again, get their shit together on, is NVIDIA's like, yeah, we got a new thing coming out, but don't worry about it. We'll tell you when it's out. And AMD hyped up the furries, so hard by the time they came out, because they're like, this thing will curb Stompotron, all the things, and when it came out, it was like, it's comparable to the 980 and the 980 Ti's.
It'll win out on DirectX, not an OpenGL, which is what we care about. So
Yep. But the bit that interested me about this article was that they said, the bit where they say, this specific PCB will come with the mezzanine connector that has speeds of 15 gigabytes per second up to 40 gigabytes per second. And I'm like, okay, so you finally have a reason to have a PCIe 3.0 connector on your motherboard. Assuming, of course, that any of the consumer-grade cards ever get above 16 gigabytes per second. I mean, I can kind of get that with the 970 if I push it to like the 1.416 gigahertz of the turbo mode. But other than that, it doesn't really go there.
Well, there's not a whole lot you're going to be even looking at, because on the old render box I'm using, which does have a 980 in it, but it uses PCI Express 2.0. Mm-hmm. And it hardly ever, it bowls out. But I'm powering 3 displays. One of the displays is 4K, and it's using like 2-3%.
PCIe 2.0 at 16x can actually push 16 gigabytes per second. Mm-hmm. The only reason to ever use PCIe 3.
And what do you think that reason might be, not Pedro?
I think that might just be physics, man.
Yeah.
All right, up next. So
this
motherfucker. Let's get twitchy in there.
Gotta take off my pants and my panties.
I'm telling you, man. GNOME Twitch app for watching Twitch on your new Linux desktop. # Stallman, # Samurai Swords. GNOME Twitch app for watching Twitch. Enjoy your favorite streams without hassle. A flash on the web. This is the thing.
Yes, hassle.
We'll get to that. I got some screenshots. It looks like a very well put together desktop app. If you're listening on audio like most of you are, and you can select through your channels and all that. This was actually the thing that showed me. It was like, gaming talk shows, that's a category? Yoink! We're going to change everything to that. Distro packages currently available offer Arch and the Ubuntu's. Here's the thing. The PPA, there's not really a PPA. Well, it is, but it's for GetDeb and fucking all. Do not ever install GetDeb on Ubuntu, period. And, you know, I cloned the Git, and I was like, okay. And it was like, it started bitching. He was like, you need to upgrade GTK3. And I'm like, GTK3 is working. Fuck you. Go to hell. But Jordan, you had some.
Oh, yes. Because I'm on Fedora 22. I got all the recent GTKs. So I went on a little adventure to try and compile this motherfucker. You need something of a build tool called Meson. This was the first I ever heard of it, so I got a bit of a crash course in that.
Same here.
The Meson.build file that this thing comes with has too many arguments in one of its init calls, so you gotta go in and remove it, and then it'll start compiling, except it will complain that there's a wrong version of GTK or a wrong version of GStreamer, so I had to do some hackery regarding the pkg config files to get that all recognized. And then what do you call it? There's another error in one of the other Maison.build project files. All this stuff I've actually documented in the show notes to some degree or another. I may just put up an RPN for you, Clouds, and that would be all well and good. I got this thing finally compiled about 15 minutes before we actually started get this call, before we got to Ven's internet problems. And after all is said and done, it looks for NVIDIA driver libraries in the wrong location, and therefore it can't play videos. So, yeah, seems like a good idea from the outset. You might want to work on getting your build system completely unfucked. And if you dig into it, this thing is meant to be built for Arch. So good. If you have that particular guy's setup from that week when he finally got this thing to compile, this should work fine for you. But other than that, there's some doing.
It was kind of one of the funny things we were talking about in the pre-show, because I brought up, I was like, oh, Arch, you mean, that build from last Thursday? And Jordan was like, no, last Thursday after 1 p.m. You know, that's the one you need to use. P-Man, you've given it a go.
Yeah, I tried to give it a go, but this will all be in the show notes, but like Jordan mentioned at the start of it, it was like, oh, it won't build with a Meson error. I don't know Meson. Okay, project, open parentheses, close parentheses, does not take keyword arguments. And then Jordan was like, yeah, there's too many arguments in that. You just remove the last one, it'll work. Okay. Went into the Meson build. Yeah. Okay. Now it's complaining that it needs GTK plus 316. I only have 314 because I'm on Core 21. All right, fine. I'll go to the SRC Meson build and edit that to just, have it accept 314. Still wouldn't build because it was getting some unreferenced calls from specific 316 bits that are not present in 314, so I couldn't build it, and I just gave up at that point.
Yeah, no, this was a challenge for me. Mind you, I have like a fuck ton of Ruby deps I need to compile on my server for the showbot that we need. So this isn't the last you're gonna hear from me regarding compiler rage. Let me tell you. But speaking of rage, apparently Jim Sterling is a bit concerned about the rage that he can incite.
Yes, apparently with all the coverage that he does on his channel with some of the shitty games that show up on Steam, some people have taken upon themselves to kind of go and harass the developers of said games. And Jim was
feeling... P-Man, yeah, I mean, you got to think. I mean, every time you'll see like a squirty play or something like that, and full disclosure...
I'm sorry, squirty play?
Yeah, it's called a squirty play.
Yes.
Full fucking disclosure plays. When I finish a fucking sentence without being interrupted. I didn't know what the hell a Jim Sterling was until last year when Pedro was like, oh my god, he's my boyfriend. And then I watch it. I like the gent. I mean, he has an interesting take on things, but I've learned from... I don't necessarily even watch the videos anymore. If I see something that's complete shit, I'll go visit the Steam forums for that game just to sit and grab some popcorn.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, he covers a lot of shit games on his channel, and he kind of woke up on... When was this? October 8th. And he was like, yeah, there's a lot of people kind of going off from my videos and harassing developers, and I don't want that to happen. You should watch the video. There'll be a link in the show notes. It's kind of interesting to see what someone with that much pull on the community, especially in the Steam community, can rile up people to do. But we, LinuxGameCast, can sort of get away with this because our audience is smaller. than his, and there's even less people who listen to our podcast.
We have millions of adoring fan. What are you talking about?
Especially not Roy from AMD, or sorry, formerly
people that
AMD.
listen to our podcast don't really frequent the Steam forums all that much, as crazy as it may seem, but they don't. Hell, most of Chat Realm can barely be asked to actually join us on Saturday nights and watch the live show.
Yeah, sure. Shit on our.
That's right. I
great.
send your hate mail to
developers.
Pedro at LinuxGameCast.com. The only reason I even threw this in the show notes is because I listened to that. And if you listen to the video, that's the sound of somebody. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to say I'm speculating. Homeboy was rattled when he recorded that fucking video. I'm sorry. There's the donations and that. So maybe somebody came and knocked on his door, and I know that would affect a lot of people. I mean, don't tell people to die in a fire. That doesn't apply to Chat Realm. That's a standard parting greeting for anybody. It's definitely. I mean, just die in a fire. How are you? That's kind of like I run Arch, and all that business. So I mean, just be cool, I guess. I mean, shit on the product, not on the people, right?
Yeah, I mean, we shit on a lot of things, but at least we try to make our criticism regarding the product and not the people. Except when people actually do shitty things. And,
well, I mean, we don't actively seek out bad shit.
No, we don't. And ultimately, bad shit deserves to be called out, but at the same time, don't go chasing people down and going to their homes and spamming their personal emails and whatnot, because that's not a good way of getting shit done. You spread the knowledge, let people make informed decisions. That's really all we can do. But it's time to volunteer our time and efforts.
Yes. That statement was completely indivisible. An RPG, Murph, by Lab Zero and 505 Games. They currently need 1.5 million wet stinky caches to help complete a funding tier. This is the thing. Currently, right now, they only have the prototype available for the Windows, but I can assure you that the Linux version is in the works, as according to Hipster Hitler, staring menacingly over the screen that we're showing in the broadcast. PMAT, explain to me what this game is, because it just angered and confused me.
Yeah, this is a 2D JRPG type thing, at least from the little bit I've played of the Linux prototype. They've sent the people that actually tested the Linux beta of Skullgirls, they've sent everyone the build to see how it's working, see if anyone needs fixing.
That came in yesterday, didn't it? That was pretty recent too. Yeah, so
either yesterday or very early today, one of those.
It was yesterday. Yeah. Yeah,
on my end, it works just about as well as Skullgirls did through the whole thing. I'm really not complaining about it, although the one thing I will complain about is the funding goal that they're going for. 1.5 mil? That's a bit steep.
I got something to complain about with this game. The fucking controls make no sense. Yeah. Okay, so let me preface this. Controls are actually picked up. At the beginning, it detects, hey, you have a controller. Let's run you through the configuration. It's SDL2, so it works. That's all great. But when you actually get to the gameplay, it's like, fine, okay, you can punch, you can attack. But then they introduce a second party member. Okay, how do I switch to them? Fuck you, that's how. There's a lot of micromanaging that needs to go on. I get what the game is trying to do. It's sort of trying to be like a Legend of Dragoon type game with the quick time event driven combat and whatnot. But goddamn, explain how your controls are supposed to function, or else I'm just gonna die because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I mash buttons and nothing happens. I made a comment in the show notes earlier that, oh yeah, it's coming to Linux. We've heard that before, but they have actually produced something. We can play it. I think if you email them and ask really, really nicely, they will send you a copy if you're so inclined. I think they just gave us a Google Drive link.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely a thing. They need that in order to get funded, because the 505, I believe, is the ones that are going to be punching in an additional couple of $1 million on top of that.
It was an additional 2.5 mil, if I recall correctly.
Okay, so it was about $3 million after you take out the Indiegogo thing. gotta give them credit, man. They had the balls to bring up the Skullgirls thing at the end there, and they're like, see, we've delivered that. And I was like, that's a fucking brave statement. All right. No, I'll just leave that at that because we got some news.
Drop the bass!
But yeah, this is PPSSPP. It is the PSP emulator for Linux. Their newest version, 1.1, is here, as their website claims. They've fixed a couple of things. They've added support for ARM 64-bit on Android. And
BSD operating system is now supported. Just when I thought, I was like, I can't use Linux anymore. There's too many games on it. I need to use BSD. And they're like, nope, screw you, Vin.
It's spreading.
Yep. Yeah, BSD is now getting some support too, as is the NVIDIA Shield console. And if you have one of those rotating screens on your PC, you can actually rotate them to actually play some of the games that were meant to be used with the PSP vertically. So you get that. They've also released a new hotfix between the time that this made it to the show notes and the time that we're recording. But this is version 1.1.1 that fixes some of the crashiness with the homebrew store and some specific games like Persona 3 Portable on Android 64-bit. I have an ISO dump that I did on my PSP for Persona 3 Portable.
Oh my god,
and
you're breaking the law, Pedro. You're going to jail.
Non-space Portugal, he's not.
No, I'm not. But
well, when it comes to America,
PC, it wasn't crap.
That's just what I'm fucking saying, P-Man, because your brand new fiber internet kind of keeps on crapping out. Maybe he'll come back. Hey, he's back.
Hey!
Say something.
Yeah.
Maybe. Either way, Pedro, you made a video about this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I played a couple of games just to show it around. I actually had some voiceover recorded for it, but my throat was crapping all over itself earlier in the week. So
tell me something new. So
it basically shut off like halfway through. You could barely make out what I was saying. So I just pushed the video out to Ven and said, if anyone wants to do a voiceover of this, you're welcome.
And I totally have a wonderful track recorded for it. That is. oh yes. Oh yes.
Something about Flintstones up next.
Yes. All right. Unvanquished. They have a new update. This is update number 44. Their alpha released, and this one's actually kind of neat because the method of distribution for this is on their official dedicated servers. They are pushing out the update via that, which is nice because you don't have to go re-download or recompile or whatever the hell it is you do to get this game up and running. For those of you who like natural selection but don't actually want to play the busted Linux version that's being maintained by the community.
I mean, it is technically a version of natural selection too that works.
I see what you did there. But they're starting to introduce a lot more rapidly developed features. They're trying to see what people like and what people don't. They removed the credit system so that you can just buy whatever. They changed the momentum. They added some anti-camping stuff. Basically, you lose rewards if you stick around your base. You can construct anywhere now. They got rid of like the point pools. And you just start off with some random points. They got rid of stamina. And here's the biggest thing that I think is going to piss people off. They got rid of headshots. You have attacks from the front and you have attacks from the back. Back attacks do more damage. But, I mean, they got rid of headshot. That is like one of the most iconic FPS features. Every PC game that does first person typically has this. And they've done away with it. But They do want feedback. None of these features are permanent. They're just they're throwing stuff to the wall and seeing what sticks. So
yeah, the whole localized damage thing. They say simplified locational damage. No more head, torso, or leg zones. There's just two, front and back. And like Jordan said, back takes more damage than the front. And I'm like, okay, so FPS scrubs can actually play the game like that, sort of. But how about you, when you actually release the game, if that ever happens, you split that off into casual and hardcore modes, having the latter, retain the more complex locational damage, and the previous just keeping just back and front. Having the Kvar toggles is great. but most people are just going to load the defaults and away they go. Jeez, that doesn't sound...
And I mean, as I said, none of these features are necessarily permanent. They want your feedback, which is one of the nice advantages of an open source project, is you can leverage your player base and understand exactly what they want and deliver a targeted product to them without all that handy-dandy market research that costs tons and tons and tons of money. Ben, you got any thoughts on this?
No, not really. I mean, outside of what I said, I mean, if you would like to play natural selection too, that works, play this instead. But that's kind of cheesy.
It is cheesy. This is Gorlunch.weebly.com. This is a open source dungeon crawler that you can compile, sort of, kind of, not really, and play. I do like their little, on their download page, if you want to play it on Linux, build the Ubuntu source, Luke. So, I cloned the repository, and I tried to do that. And lo and behold, apparently these guys don't know how to write C code, because I have to fix a bunch of the includes, at which point I say, fuck this, I'm not editing all your C files. I'm a peace out.
Well, what's this game supposed to be about, man?
It's just a roguelike dungeon crawler. 100 levels, see if you can get to the end without dying.
That's it?
Pretty much.
But Old Cheese, TM, Pedro, you know it's an amazing thing.
Not really. This is one of those roguelikes that I never really got into because I looked at the art and I'm like, I can find better than that.
Yeah, you gotta rescue Cheese Man. That's the point of the game. the all cheese stole by games.
Well, let's talk about a blast from the past.
Actually, speaking of blast, that dragon breathes fire out of his ass. But moving on. Yeah, Jazz Tickets, Erlam. This is a game built on the Erlich engine. And I know very little about it aside from the list of dependencies. I did not get... And the fact that it uses ESDF instead of WASD, because apparently it hates people.
Oh, yes, you absolutely flipped your shit in the show notes about that. I mean, the world's coming to a fucking primordial end.
Why? Why?
Man, that's definitely something, I think along with P-Man, that we used to play billions of years ago in the future's past. I mean, back when, yeah, in the dark ages before the Steams and all that business, when we had about 9 fucking games to cover and somehow still did a show every week. Still did a show every week. It's fun. I mean, it was genuinely fun. I didn't give this one a build. Nothing against it. It's just I didn't have time this week, but yeah, check that project out. P-Man, it used to work on your old calculator before you got the Amiga, right?
Yes, it did. Not only the calculator, but I remember playing the 0.1.0 version back in 2010. Yeah. This was one of the games that I actually used to test the FGLRX and the Mesa packages in Fuduntu. Yeah, that distribution. Then, of course, S3TC became a thing, and it was available through Mesa, and I could literally use any game I wanted, so I didn't really pay this much attention. But Erlam was one of those games that it was like Spectral Ball, before Spectral Ball even became a thing. It was fun. It was really, really fun. But yeah, old-timey Linux games.
All right, and, before we kick on over to the game section... we should talk about our Patreon campaign, because we love our backers, these people who give us money week after week after week after week to continue this madness.
They're insane.
They are. And we're adding a new goal because...
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Nope. We're not doing it. Nope. I was drunk when I wrote that. I take it back.
Well, it's too late now.
Are you sure about that? Not Pedro. Ben. See, Pedro's usually the drunk one now. That's just got burned in my brain. Ben, start drinking more. God damn it. Fix this. No, but if we get to $140 for every week that we hit $140, we will record a Left 4 Dead 2 segment with a random member from Chatroom. It could be you, it could be Sandy, it could be Empty, or it could be... And I'm just looking through Chatroom right now. It could be Civic. He ported Skullgirls, and then he needs to die from zombies, because zombies. I don't think we had any new backers this week.
Nobody new this week, but we did a little bit of the spring cleaning. We got all, people... that happens at the end of every month. Check your credit cards, make sure and all that business. is, up to date. We're not even worried about like our Patreon and all that. It was like, check your fucking credit cards, man, because that kind of sucks. Because I've had that happen to me when I'd forget to update my credit card, and you're like, oh, this particular service I was paying for quit working. Why did that happen? Oh, right. So, check your business on that. We're at 127. We definitely want to hit that 140. We'll get that in there later on. And at 150, P-Man and I are going to be doing some regular weekly news and some interviews. It's going to do nothing.
I mean, what we got Iculus lined up. So if you want to see a fun interview with that,
maybe we'll get Terry back on.
Yeah. I think we may even have that kernel engineer who writes that game trainer. So
he's volunteered to do it. So
yeah, that too will be an interesting interview. So if you want to see a lot of cool content, you should back us on Patreon. Patreon.com/LinuxGameCast.
And again, 5 cents a show, baby. It's not about the money. We need those numbers. We want
the numbers, not the money.
But up next, we skullfuck Skullgirls. Civic, get ready. Originally suggested that we actually outsource this review to volunteers who would do this in their own free time, but that got shot down because apparently we're a little better than Lab Zero. This is Skullgirls! We're throwing chairs at it. Finally, it's on the Z engine, the Zengen. You can pick it up for around 15 units of your particular local currency. And what is it? It's a fast-paced 2D fighting game that puts players in control of fierce warriors, an extraordinary dark deco world featuring an all-new game system which tests the skills of veteran fighting game fans while making the genres enjoyable and accessible to newcomers. Not really. No. But anyways, it's Skullgirls. It's finally out 3 years later after their, third Indiegogo? Our pal Civic, he's in chat realm right now. He finally finished porting it. It's finally gold stamped. Out the door. So we're throwing chairs. Chairquisition. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that's meth. 3 chairs means that's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that's amazing. We also got a categories of doom mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off before it takes us another 3 years to get this review out the door. Ben, to make it with the working.
Over here on the Ubuntu 1404 LTS octo-core 980 powered 4K display box of business. Kind of impressed, Brad. I'm kind of impressed. This manages to hold a steady 60 FERPs, not only at 1080, but also at 2160, which is UHD resolution. Everything else just works fine, but there is one small bug. It's kind of a small bug, kind of a big bug for me, because, I can play it with the X-Clone controller, that's fine, but, this is face facts, so it's kind of a bit rubbish for this type of game, so I broke out the Logicrap Perversion Pro. And for a while it worked. Now, this game doesn't even think it exists anymore. I mean, I have both of them plugged in. I mean, it works with distance. It works with a couple of the games. You got to kind of pick and choose because, it doesn't have the twin sticks and all that. But for the games and platforms and stuff like that, everybody else picks it up. Skullgirls used to when it was in the closed Linux beta that we've had for billions of years. But currently doesn't. Maybe that's going to get fixed. Hell, it could be an issue here. Some weird moon technology that's going on. But outside of that, I'm going to give this 3 chairs. I think it's doing a fantastic job of making with the working.
Yeah, on the Fedora 22 powered 64-bit AMD 1090T with the NVIDIA GTX 980 at 4K. This thing, like Ben said, runs fairly consistently at 60 frames a second. Good on them for that. Though, to be fair, this is not the most graphically intensive game, so not really that difficult to pull off, but still, steady performance is steady performance.
Well, they did claim that the Z engine should be able to run on a toaster, so.
That's true. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It still gets 4 chairs, so.
Boom.
And over here on the Corora 2164-bit powered box of... It's got an FX 8370E overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and a GTX 970 Strix. It ran out of the box, no complaints. Like Van and Jordan already said, it keeps a steady performance regardless of which resolution you're running it on. Although I only have 2 1080p monitors, so I could only run it at 1080p, but no complaints from me. 4 chairs.
Does it run at 3490 by 1080?
I could probably downscale it to that, but nah.
That's okay, so that's 3 chairs for Mix with working up next to Shiny and Sounds. Then, take it away.
Okay, virtually there is nothing to complain about in this business. It's very Art Deco style, hand-drawn animation, and that hand-drawn animation is fuckballs amazing. You're going to definitely dig it. It is not necessarily how it's drawn, it's how fluid it is. Everything just works. And yes, I know, it's got 3D backgrounds. That shit's a bit gimmicky, but easy enough to cut off. You don't have to deal with it. And since I didn't put that in the show notes, I'm not going to show you that screenshot that shows that I'm not having the same issues that Pedro is, but he did sort his issues. When it comes to the sounds, they work. That's what you expect from a fighting game. Nothing fancy, nothing terrible, but, I mean, very satisfying thwacks. When it comes to level music, you don't expect a whole lot out of that, and it pretty much delivers. So, no big surprises, no big shocks. I think it's completely fucking gorgeous. It looks fantastic at 4K and runs accordingly. So I'm going to give that business the 4 chairs.
Yeah, like Fen said, the animations are very, very smooth. The art style uses this, it's cartoonish, which really helps with the game aging. A lot of these games that use more realistic art styles tend to fall victim to the fact that in like 5-10 years, oh, it looked amazing then, but now it just looks like complete garbage. Case in point, GoldenEye. But yeah, I do like the art style, and a lot of the characters have very, very interesting designs. Just interpretations of how various dead people would use their dead person powers. Yeah, and the music, it fits the art style pretty well. It has sort of this Art Deco jazz loop that goes over and over again. And I mean, really, like Ben said, fighting games, music's there to make sure that there isn't any silent points. Nothing completely mind-blowing, but still very competently done. I'll give it 3 chairs.
Yeah, I really have no complaints about the graphics. They work for what they are, but there is one thing. There's sprite tearing. There's sprite tearing everywhere.
Only if you Kitty.
Yeah, there'll be a link in the show notes to exemplify what I mean, but apparently it's caused by some compositor/window managers with varying degrees. It's especially prominent in both KDE and Cinnamon. If you're using XFCE, yeah, see right there what Ben's showing you? It's really, really bad. That's in KDE. In Cinnamon, it's not that bad, but I've come to realize that neither XFCE with XFWM4 or Compton as a compositor, that doesn't happen. Or even Enlightenment 19, it doesn't happen at all. It doesn't show the tearing. So, Civic, please get around to fixing that, because this is also present in Lab Zero's new game, Indivisible. It's there. I can see it. It's pretty damn glaring. And the music in the fights themselves sounds repetitious as balls. You pair that with the fact that you have to replay the same level again and again and again, especially when you're trying to beat Philia with Fukua. It's like the very last fight that you have to do on Fukua's storyline. Yeah, the music got itself nope real quick. I just had something playing in the background, but yeah, I'm gonna have to think of a chair for that, so 3 chairs.
All right, that's 3 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. And up next is Control. This will be quick.
Well, Exclude. That just fell, didn't it?
He dropped it.
Exclude controller. Horrible. It's rubbish.
That's because you keep dropping it.
I know, right? As he blindly
can he get it?
Which he magically found.
He doesn't hit his head on the way up.
Damn it.
This old Logitech Precision, this is what you want to play this game with. I mean, it is the 6-button controller, none of the fancy twin stick business, anything like that. And you can definitely see the quality difference in like just the D-pad, which I just really did not enjoy on the Exclude controller. Had a good time with it, to be perfectly honest. if you have that, maybe you like it. I played against Strider, and Strider really enjoys it on his Xbox controller. So I like that maybe with the Sonys and all that. But yeah, definitely had to throw some Logitech some love on that. Controls perfectly mothering work, so I'm going to give that 4 chairs. SDL2, goodness.
Oh yeah, SDL2 just fucking works. I'm using the PlayStation 4 controller because Sony has that wonderful patent on that perfect fucking D-pad that just works great for fighting games. I actually did try. I tried it back when it was in beta with the PlayStation 3 controller, and it would just not pick up. I don't know if that's been fixed yet. I was just using the PS4 controller for the most part, and yeah, it detects it sets all the bindings correctly. One issue, not enough to ding at a chair, because if you spend like 5 minutes in tutorial, you can figure it out. It does not actually tell you which buttons correspond to any of the symbols, because all the buttons for the combo lists are described as like high kick, low kick, medium punch, hard punch, whatever. So you gotta figure that one out first before you can actually execute some of these combos. But the controls just fucking work out of the box. So 4 chairs, SDL2 motherfuckers.
Yeah, this is the game that made me realize just how fucking mushy the D-pad on the NVIDIA controller, and it's not just mushy, it's generally fucking horrible. It's when compared to the DualShock 2, I mean, the DualShock 2 is amazing. Like Jordan already said, Sony's got that patent on that really fucking awesome D-pad, and I wish this NVIDIA Shield controller had that, but it does not. But that's to no fault of the game. The controls work even with the limited hardware support that the NVIDIA Shield controller has on Linux. It works. Everything was mapped sensibly. It basically mimics the Xbox 360 or the Xbone controller. So I'm not complaining. 4 chairs.
All right, that's 4 chairs for controls. And finally, fun. Then, did you enjoy Skullgirls as a game?
Combo all the things. #broom needed. I grew up with Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, etc. Yes, combos were present in those games, but it kind of noped when meters started to become a thing. Give me a life bar, a few specials, and let's have at. Yes, it was a simpler time. Pepperidge Farm remembers. It was about outthinking your opponent, not memorizing the button mashing required to execute an infinite fuck-mothering combo. And don't get me started on the 1, 2, 3 tag team character bullshit. Now, I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. Then, you're old, unskilled, and completely incapable of playing a modern, competitive fighting game. Clarkston pause, and you'd be right. Unfortunately, that's kind of my point. I mean, if you're of my vintage, looking to recapture time before fighters sported sparkly cowboy boots and lackady hairdos, you would do well to skip Skullgirls. Oh, and there's one last thing I want to touch on. What's up with not labeling the buttons during the tutorial? This is 20-mothering-15. This, Jordan just touched on it, high kick, low punch, and all that. There's some mental disconnect with having to, figure that out. I'm not saying it's terribly complex. And just to put a bow on this, looking up actual move guides, specials for this, is fucking archaeology. It is not, you search the Googs and the Googs like, I got a little bit for you, not a whole lot. And that can be confusing. So, old man yelling at Skullgirl Cloud, I'm going to give it 2 chairs for the fun.
Yeah, no, that control thing really becomes an issue. I found the best way to deal with that is to just go into like training mode and just fuck around with all the move lists, figure out the combos that work for you, and then just spam the fuck out of those. I was using the mummy chick whose name I can never freaking remember, and she's great because once you get that person in a corner, you just get them in the fuck box. And that's really what this game revolves around, is getting people stuck in the fuck box. I get stuck in Beowulf's fuck box all the time. I had to deal with the tag team with Big Band and Beowulf. I made it through Big Band. Beowulf just completely curb stomped my face. My God. I mean, the tag team thing doesn't really bother me that much. I played a lot of Tekken Tag back in the day. But yeah, sometimes it's just like, you need a breather, and yeah, more fighters coming at you after you take out one is not always that fun. I mean, it's and really what this boils down to, it's a competently done fighting game. It works great under Linux. I didn't really find it all that fun. It doesn't do anything particularly special. It's your standard Guilty Gear, Combat Core, Power Stone type thing. And yeah, if this style of game is your dice, definitely give it a shot. It is competently done. You won't find it lacking in terms of like gameplay, but it's not going to change your mind about 2D fighters. So I'll give that 2 cheers. It's an acceptable game.
I might have to disagree with Jordan about the Guilty Gear bits, because comparing this game to Guilty Gear is Guilty Gear is a hell of a lot better. Just saying. But yeah. Much like Ven, I'm not that big a fan of the tag team business. When I play the arcade mode, I always do so with just the one character, and even when they pit me against like 3 characters, I suppose it's good that I'm relatively competent at the game and I can beat that 3-character tag team with just my one. But then again, you know, that's competent against the AI. When it comes to actually playing against other players, I kind of played a few matches online and had my ass promptly handed to me by people who had mastered the infinite combos.
Fuckbox.
I don't hate this game. I actually like it. I've sunk like 8 or 9 hours into it. It's pretty good. It's a fighting game on Linux that doesn't suck. Hello, Kings of Kung Fu. You there? Take
More
some
like
notes.
Kings of Kung Fu, am I right?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't hate it, but I'll be damned if I ever play another online match against some other player, because random people on the internet, they just master the infinite combo business and they will knock your ass off to a corner and not let you out. So for me, it gets 3 chairs for the fun.
All right, so that's 2 chairs finally for the fun. And if we tally this up, Skullgirls gets 3 chairs, 1 chair for every year it took to finally get to Linux. Am I right? Gentlemen, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. It has been priced to sell multiple times. Keep your eye on that. The game constantly goes on sale. It was recently in the Humble Bundle, which is all right. You know, pick a bit of kit off that. We have a contest. I'm giving away a 2-pack on the Steams. Not me personally, but LinuxGameCast, LGC cares. We're doing that. Get in there if you want some of that. I mean, it is a 2-pack. We can't split it up. You'll have to give it to somebody else and trade for sexual favors. I guess at the end of the day, take that shot. Yeah, this is about 2 years late, and volunteers had to port it, and Lab Zero, they did good. I'll give them that. Let me just say that and kind of leave it there. They managed to keep their word, but I kind of felt that they were prodded in order to keep their word. It's an alright game. You don't want to play it with randos online. I'm old. I'm decrepit. I had to play it in like, what is it called? Sleepwalk mode. In order,
sleepwalk.
Yeah, just get a feel of it, because just on like normal, the AI is vicious. I was like, I can't even learn how to play this thing. And then I've kind of gradually gotten up there, just a bit better. I mean, it's well done. It's a beautiful piece of kit. Just, right for your eye pussies. Didn't mind the background music and all that. Controls well, but it will make you figure out whether or not you have a decent controller. P-Baby?
Yeah, I actually beat the all characters story modes on Nightmare, so I know what I'm talking about when I say fuck Philia when playing with Fukua. I mean, fuck her up the ass. Seriously, that fight was designed to literally piss you off. That's all it is.
That's actually what Civic said in chat, so there you go.
Okay, yeah, there it is. Fukua versus Philia is made to make you rage. Yeah, there it is. But yeah, this, ladies and gentlemen, is evidence that even an LGC whipping boy of a game can redeem itself. But just because we didn't hate the game, it did get 3 chairs, it doesn't mean that we've forgotten what Lab Zero did. And it's literally 2 years later.
The North remembers.
Just remember, Linux Gamecast Weekly. Fair, but balanced.
Yes. But yeah, no, like I said before in the fun segment, it's competently done. It's not going to change your mind about 2D fighters. But, at the very least, they did finally...
Well, I don't want to say 2D fighters.
Like Ben said,
I
after
definitely want to say
prodding,
competitive 2D fighters.
competitive, sure. But like Ben said, after considerable amounts of prodding and complaining and bitching until we were literally blue in the face, they finally shat this one out. And it's a good shit. It's a nice, firm, plump, healthy 12-pound baby. Up next, we talk a bit about Jeremy Clarkson, and we also get deep.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the Hate Mail! If you're not watching us live, what the hell are you doing with your life? But just in case you'd like to know how to get in touch with us, you know the drill. Just go to LinuxGameCast.com, contact button, fill the thing. It's easy. Unless, of course, you're trying to promote your game. If you don't give us, a playable demo, beta, prototype type thing.
I think I had to send you a couple of people this week to put on the naughty list.
Yes, you did. And I gave them the business.
All right.
And they said that they would give us a Linux build, so I didn't include them in the hate mail, so yeah.
We got one Linux build this week.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. For once. But before we get to that, we got some deep.
Well, this comes from the Biscuit Gamer, called Deep. What's with that guy trying to put on a deep voice? It's kind of annoying.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, to be perfectly honest, that was episode 160 with Frenchie, so I guess it was probably directed at him. I don't know.
Here's the thing about Strider is that he inhales boron sulfate, so that makes
I don't think Frenchie can do the deep voice because he always talks like this. I don't know.
Well,
he's not here tonight, so I get to make fun of him.
Yeah, it's like modulation's so jacked up with that janky ass kit that I was like, don't buy that one, Frenchie. And he was like, I'm buying that one. Fuck you, Vin. And I was like, okay. So
yeah. Also, that's sort of how he tries to enunciate. He has some bad habits. We need to beat them out of him. So
yeah, don't complain about like somebody on the show having a deep voice because that's hard enough to try to fucking balance. In post-production. LGC cares. Up next, CHAIRQUISITION.
This comes from Artheron, and he says, "Hi, your videos on YouTube contain a misspelled CHAIRQUISITION. Is that on purpose or a mistake?"
It is now.
After trying again, will you record other tries as well?
Yes.
Also, yes.
The answer is yes, because it says so on our Patreon page, patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. You should sign up and, donate 5 cents a show and all that. But yes, we have finished Trine 1. The next episode we're going to record, Trine 2, we're going to go through that entire rigmarole again. And then, if Trine 3 is functional, we'll get to that when that gets released.
Also want to bring up that you might... this is Frenchie's not here, and we're sucking his dick. He was the first one. I'm going to be completely honest with you, gentlemen. Found out it was a fucking typo. But it has been a typo for like 6 months.
Would you say it is a typo negative?
Oh, shit, son. I see what you did. But, I think about 3 months ago on Chat Realm Static, Strider was PMSing about something, and he was like, oh, it's a typo. And I was like, oh, shit, you're right, it is. Still haven't changed it. You should get like a special badge if you're in Chat Realm Static, but if you were in Chat Realm Static, you would already know. It has been pointed out. Good on you for noticing that. You're the only second to report that business. But up last, this Nightmare Fuel.
Yes, Lucas. He's talking about Freedom Planet. He says, what?
Freedom Planet? What was Freedom Planet? Never heard of it.
That was that crappy Sonic game with the 2 characters that like...
Oh, the one that looked like Amazeballs in 4K?
Oh, yeah, sure. We're saying that ironically, right? But he says, you dislike this game? Seriously, you should have a warning that if someone likes this game, she must close the video immediately. No. Sure, there's the Stalkin somewhat likes this game and then started to dislike this game. I disagree with him, but at least he got a reason for hating this game. But you actually make good games bad. And let me say a question. Do you like bad games at Linux Game? I'm sorry, do you have a point buried in here somewhere?
What? I mean, I know it's me. I'm Portuguese. I'm not a native English speaker. And
Pedro, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I figured out of the three of us, you would be able to decipher this moon speak.
Look, I know I shouldn't be, talking about incoherence, especially at this point in the show where
it looks like it's subject to translation decay. Like when you
I'm
run it
more
through Google
drunk
Translate
than
back
any
and
sane
forth a bunch
human
of times.
being.
Yeah, somebody who's just recently finished up the Voyager series, unfortunately. It was like they were doing that beaming shit subspace thing and like something got lost in translation, son.
Oh.
It's not even about translation. It's about coherence, and he has none.
So you're saying even without a universal translator, this guy was pants on heads functionally retarded when he started typing?
Completely. I mean, dude.
Or drunk.
What? What the hell?
Hey, I had to read that out loud, man.
And on that bombshell, let's cue the music. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you fantastic, horrible people, we love you to death. Thanks for supporting this business. I'm at Vinstone on the Twitter nuts, which is about to lay off a lot of fucking people, plus Vinstone on the G+.
I'm Jordan Spung. You can find me on Twitter at Burning Pool or on Google Plus at plus Jordan Spung, posting random shit I find on Reddit.
And I am the Hinkoherant piece of shit across the pond. I am Pedro. You can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google Plus.
I guess the two things we've taken away from this episode this evening is fuck AT&T when they go balls up. And, if you're going to get addicted to something, get addicted to tobacco, right?
It's best fruit.
No more tobacco. That caught me off guard. Come on, man.
Listen, it needs more plutonium.
It needs more pecker.
It needs more Flintstones.
You want to see my pecker?
5 dudes.